Good morning. I hope I'm audible. Last day I was trying to go live, but the problem was something was wrong with the connection and it went off frequently. So I thought it's not good. It would not be worth to go live. And yeah, here I am. Uh, a couple of things that I would like to discuss, and if possible, enlighten you. Okay. Uh, I often get in conversation with my subjects, as in people who come for counseling sessions and all. And this is a random talk, and it is not, though it is specific, there aren't any specific to this, but yeah, uh, we will try to just cover everything that I happen to come across in these conversations. Conversations with my clients or subjects. Subjects is the way I address them. I mean, that's the term. Anyway, so Uh, you see, most of the times when interact with an adult, I'm not talking about the young kids. I'm only talking about adults. Adults who run a family, who are the head of the family, or who are beyond the ages of 30s. Why? Because, yeah, above 18 by law, everyone's an adult in India. But the problem is, I would like to understand the maturity of adulthood based on the development of the brain, because on an average it takes 27 years for the human brain to fully develop, and the last part of the human brain that develops is the prefrontal cortex. This is just a basic science I'm throwing at you. And that part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, is the area that happens to regulate emotions, that happens to uh, help you take major decisions, and helps you with the judgment. So it is one of the most vital part of your brain. So I think beyond the ages of 27, beyond the ages of 27, it is correct to call someone an adult. I'm sorry about my dogs. I can't control them. So I so maturity coming from experience doesn't matter. Why? If you have an underdeveloped brain, experience of a teenager, let's say experience of a teenager will always be different than the experience of an adult. Ah, just a moment. Hey, come. So the experience of an adult beyond the ages of 27 or 30 would always be different than the experiences of a teenager. Why? Why? Here's the science behind it. Because a teenager doesn't have their prefrontal cortex fully developed, because it takes on an average 27 years for the human brain to fully develop, and the last part of the brain that develops is the prefrontal cortex. So for that to happen, it takes on an average 27 years. But that's the standard amount of studies that suggests us that this is how it is. But the problem here is it also needs the correct amount of environment, nourishment, the structure for the brain to develop in the correct way, in the correct or the standard time frame. Now, depending on the lifestyle, depending on the kind of environment that people are growing up, or rather say to be more specific, kids are growing up, I don't think 27 years is the standard time that it will take nowadays. It might get stretched to 30s. Okay. Not beyond that, but 1 or 2 years. here and there. So people say that experience, coming back to my topic, experience, if you have, all right, if you have an experience, you become very mature. But that is not the case. You have to have an environment, your brain has to have that kind of an environment in order to grasp things, in order to have a proper understanding. The comprehension power is only always going to be different. But here's the catch. You know, a lot of people with a lot of experiences in life, they they always they would always tell you great wisdom. But the fact is, the secret is, or the way to understand this is, where is that wisdom coming from? The simple understanding is, no, sorry. The simple understanding is that they have had a lot of experiences. Sorry, they have a lot of experiences in life. But how are those experiences coming to them? It is just because they were living the life like a tree and just observing things, enduring things, or are they using their cognitive process correctly? Are they engaging their entire uh, uh, experience correctly? And what, and by the term experience that I'm saying, I'm trying to say, how are you evaluating your experience? How are you evaluating your perception? Is it pattern based? Is it just empirical understanding? Or it is far beyond that? We always try to comprehend things in a very standard way, in a very general way, because we don't like to push a lot. Why? What is the problem? Because we always try to avoid, critical thinking. That's the term. When you move out of your house, when you interact with people, you will never come across people who are engaged in critical thinking. They would just like to understand things from the surface level. And when you do that, you actually miss out on a lot of things. Things that are not going to help you understand the root of the problem, or the things that are going to make you have an understanding from the surface level. You'll always help yourself. I mean, it is always you helping yourself to understand things. It is never going to be an article or an information or some kind of a telegenic face coming to you and telling you, these are the facts of life, these are the things, how it works. That's the problem we have right now. We are following people, we are looking at information, and we are trying to judge things based on those things. There is a lack of wisdom that has, you know, that is missing. And wisdom only comes from experiences. But here, what we are trying to do is we are trying to avoid those kind of experiences. You see, what is wrong with the social media trend is nowadays people have stopped listening to experts. They have started to listen to social media influencers. I'm not saying they're bad. Uh, I'm not even saying they're good either. But here is the problem that I have observed as a cognitive psychologist. The greatest problem that I have seen is experts, I mean, the structure, how experts give you knowledge is experts will tell you these are the things that you need to endure, or these are the things that you need to follow in order to reach from point A to point B. Now, this is the structure. This is how you gain experience. This is how you evolve, and this is how you climb the ladder of growth. I'm talking about growth. Now arrives now the trend of this comes into being social media influencers. What they do is they would tell you, all right, you want to go from point A to point B? Great. These are the ways you can dodge these steps, you can dodge these things in order to go from point A to point B. So, in a way, they are trying to ease up your process, making you reach from point A to point B by skipping all these important steps and these all these important phases that you need to face to reach from point A to point B. So they are just trying to make things easier. And if you are trying to follow things in such a way, then you are never going to learn the experience from moving from point A to point B. It is just going to be a target oriented thing. It's just like, hey, I want to go from point A to point B. So here are the tricks that the social media influencers are teaching me. So yeah, here I go. This is what I'm going to do. That's the reason social media influencers are in demand because they're only teaching you shortcuts. They're only teaching you shortcuts. And people love shortcuts because it is giving them a quick relief from a pursuit. Right. I did a social experiment in my locality. There was a destination where people can reach by walking. It was an experiment that I conducted by myself and along with some of my colleagues. I what I tried to do was I tried to understand the basic uh, mental state of people nowadays. There is a destination that you can reach by foot by walking in 10 minutes. It will take 10 minutes. And there is a shortcut to reach that destination in 2 or 3 minutes. It's just a roundabout that you have to cross or walk through. I offered people that do you want to go from this point A go from point A to point B through that route, through that a long distance? Everyone said no, and everyone said, you want me to be there, right? So I will take the shortcut. I would rather take the shortcut and I would not take the long cut, the long way. I uh, I understood that this is how things are going on nowadays. Everyone's looking for a shortcut. Everyone's looking for a quick relief to everything. It's just like a pill. It's a pill generation that we're interacting with. What do I mean by pill generation? It's like they have a problem, they want a pill to that. I mean, they want a pill for that problem. As in, it is just like a antibiotic. You just take it and quick, it's gone. So it's the painkiller generation. They just want to take painkiller medicines and just get it out of their system. Uh, but these have side effects. And what are the side effects of avoiding such experiences? Side effects of avoiding such experiences is simple. You become dumb. People using AI nowadays to sound very intellectual, sound very knowledgeable on social media platforms. I don't know. There's a trend of impressing the crowd and the other gender, the opposite gender, rather say, or the same gender in some cases. Uh, it is AI is making you dumb because in my country, in India, people are not that fluent with English. Okay, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just a language. I'm not judging them from that. What I'm trying to say is people who have not learned the language, they're using AI to make themselves sound knowledgeable, make themselves sound fluent and excellent in that language. But that is just a fake, pretentious act that they're doing. This is not where the content comes into play. This is just a fluff. All right. If you're trying to welcome that culture to your life, welcome that habit to your life, wherein you rely on AI, on Chat GPT to develop uh, your communication skills. As in, see, if you're practicing it, if you're learning it, that's a different thing. But if you're trying to tweak your statements, if you're trying to refine your statements, if you're trying to create things which are not originally created by you, then it is a fake structure that you're putting forward, and and the assumptions based on this is going to be fake. Okay, so if I'm trying to be intellectual in social media platform, and I'm trying to pose as an intellectual by throwing great knowledge, that knowledge should come from me. From me, it's just like I have achieved it through academics, or I have achieved it through experiences, I have achieved it through practical knowledge, practical ways of achieving the knowledge, not by just typing few keywords, typing a little keywords and then getting the answers from ChatGPT or from AI, and then trying to post it on social media accounts and trying to pose as an intellectual. That that kills the entire purpose of knowledge. That kills the entire purpose, the concept called life. In life we grow. The problem is people don't seem to understand this. People don't seem to understand the concept of life. Rather they took it as a structure. That's the reason they keep on chasing patterns. That's the reason they keep on chasing patterns. They keep on finding ways and shortcuts and tricks and tips to get answers to their questions, because they think it's a mathematical equation. It's a mathematical uh, problem that you need to solve, and that's how they should go about it. Everyone is running after shortcuts. Okay, I'm not saying people are targetless. People do have targets, but how are you approaching your targets? That matters a lot. Are you approaching your targets with shortcuts? Sure, you can be there where you want to be. You can have things where what you want to have. But trust me, satisfaction. This is completely a psychological understanding that you once you dive into the knowledge of psychology, you will understand that our brain is structured in a way that we might get relief, a pleasure out of following shortcuts. But satisfaction and happiness will only come to us once we follow the hard work, once we follow the structure of hard work and achieve our goals or our targets or whatever we do. I, you know, this is my empirical understanding or an observation. I see people who have achieved so much in their life and that they have reached a very uh, respectable position. They they misuse their power. Okay, their their body language, their social interactions, their structure of thinking. You don't have to express. So look, for an average human being, it might be a little tough for uh, I mean to identify these things, but for an uh, psychologist, for especially a cognitive psychologist, it is very easy for them to understand how to identify these signs, how to identify these features or these qualities in people. It's very easy. Okay, they have a certain body language. People who are inefficient, they have a lifestyle, they have a behavioral issue, they have a body language, they have habits that they will speak in volume. You don't have to interact with them. You don't even have to talk to them. Once you talk to them, further you understand more the vastness of the vastness of their character. But to get a complete picture, you just need to observe the individual correctly, and he or she is going to give away the kind of person they are. It is not a big deal. So, on a daily basis, I interact with a lot of people. People who are famous, people who are powerful, people who have a shit ton of money. But the basic, uh, you know, the, the dissatisfaction of mind lies in the realization wherein I see them being not eligible to have what they have. Sure, they might have had a great struggle in their life. They might have had uh, a great story. But whatever you do, your character speaks in volume whether you deserve it or not, your success. I don't know how people identify success, but the success is a very misinterpreted term. But however, uh, if we are trying to uh, uh, generalize success, then there are a lot of ways people can identify success as: if you have a lot of money, if you have a great lifestyle, if you have this, that, and all the jazz. There are multiple ways, a multitude uh, ways of thinking what a successful life can be. But the real meaning of success is, or being successful is, being at peace. You must have the mental peace from which happiness will come. Majority of these people don't have that. They come to me, they come for solutions, they come for counseling. I'm ready to help, I'm willing to help. But the problem lies here. The problem lies where exactly is. They come to me just vent out their feelings. They don't come to me to resolve things. They don't come to me to fix uh, the problems that they have. Okay, and, and that is the interesting part, because I I want people to change, change as in for better, for good, and this change will only happen when you will start to work on yourself. No one's perfect, but you can take this statement in two ways. One, you don't work on yourself and you stick to the statement and give it a negative outlook, that no one's perfect. I don't have to work on myself. No one's perfect. Fine. I don't have to work on myself. And the other way that you can take the statement is, well, no one's perfect. But that doesn't mean I have to stick to my negative things. I have to stick my negative traits. I have to improve myself. Even if I improve myself, I might not be perfect. But at least I will help myself eliminate all the wrong things that is in me. So it is always the perspective that gives you the right wisdom in life. Always remember this. It is the perspective that is going to give you the right wisdom in life. Otherwise, if you try to give it a logical view, I mean anything, then you will end up feeling like nothing is worth, or it is not necessary to do things. And this is where a lot of people, or rather say the majority of the people, get stuck in, and they don't seem to understand the the complication of things that arrives into their life just because they think like this. Just an important and a quick tip that I can give you, a free tip to help yourself in life is, yes, we need to be practical in life. Practical is reality. Okay. But you also need to understand, if you are being practical, you have to evaluate your practicality with logic. Only then your approach is going to give you the kind of result that you want and the kind of satisfaction that you want. Okay, let's say uh, someone says you cannot be honest nowadays. Okay, mm, okay, here's an example. A lot of businesses, they do unethical practices. Okay, suddenly a guy arrives and he wants to do business, and he looks around and he does a market research and he comes to the conclusion that, hey, everyone's doing unethical practices. It's just the intensity matters. Someone is doing it on a high intensity and someone is doing it on a low intensity. But the the conclusion is everyone is doing that, and that's the understanding. So I will also do it. So in that approach, if you start something like that, you are not going to get satisfaction out of it. Why? Because if you have not evaluated that from the point of view of logic, logic is going to tell you that yes, this is how practically things are, but that is not how you're going to get satisfaction out of your pursuit. Now that matters a lot. People don't evaluate their actions logically. If you are hurting someone, if you are causing damage to someone, the logic says, the logical understanding of it is, it is going to come back to you. It is also going to affect you. It is also going to cause damage to you. It may not have that amount of intensity that you have done. I mean, it's always unsure about what are the consequences going to be, but it may get you, I mean, it may have the same impact or it may have a lesser impact, but it will have an impact. Because, see, when we lie, here's one very important part, the psychological, rather say a secret. When we lie to someone, it is not we are lying to someone else. We have to lie to ourselves first. That's the trick. And that's the thing that we don't seem to understand. If we are lying to someone, if I am lying to someone, then I am first lying to myself. And then that lie is going to the other person. So, no matter what you do or how you do it, what are the procedure or steps you take in order to do something, right, wrong, good, bad, you are always aware of that. You cannot escape that. Let's say, let's say you committed a crime and no one's aware of it, and you lived your life. I mean, you never got caught. You never get caught, and you live your entire life free. Do you think that you are going to be at peace? Never. Because that thing, that incident is going to haunt you throughout your life. It is going to be there. It is going to be intact. That's the reason. I mean, that's the reason In Christianity, in a lot of other religion, there this the concept of confession comes into play. That's the reason in a lot of other religions, including Hinduism, Christianity has, they have this structure of confession in the church. Why? Because you cannot live with the burden of thing that you have done. It's always a sin. Okay. So it has, the intricacies to our mental things is vast. So the concept of confession, is actually psychologically a correct process that Christianity follows. Because once you confess, you are being true to yourself. You have confronted that feeling, that moment, by expressing it to the other person. Most of the times, I have seen our actions don't align with our, our desires, our, our wishes, uh, our school of thoughts. Why? Because most of the times, or rather say majority of the times, we don't have a established structure to work on ourselves. We think that let's do it. If it works, it's okay. If it doesn't work, then we will think of something else. It's just a structure called life that we are following. Coming back to the topic, it is not that we look. Everyone's trying to earn money. Everyone's trying to be successful, but this is not how you become successful. You cannot become successful in this way because you think that it's some kind of uh, a formula that you are chasing or you need that can help you become successful or make you rich. It is not. Nobody is going to tell you that. Nobody is going to ever tell you that hard work matters. That's the reason the middle class category, they always remain where they are. Majority of these people who come to me for counseling sessions, especially the middle class category, they don't want change. They don't want to lose things. Well, it's not about losing things, it's about investing and then expecting things to come back. You know, the greatest fact, the most interesting fact about life is whatever you lose, you get it back. You're going to get it back 100%. But people think that they need more without losing anything. And I have seen this problem with middle class people. They feel like there is some kind of a formula or some kind of a trick that can help you gain a lot with zero investments, and they just don't want to lose. Because why? The deep down inside, when I analyzed these category, I understood that they have signed up for things which they never wanted. They're paying bills that they never wanted. They're having relationships that they never wanted. They're having social obligations that they never wanted. And they are having a lifestyle that they never wanted. And they are doing jobs that they never wanted. Okay, it is a structural problem with everybody, but I'm just here, I'm only aiming at the people that I'm interacting with as a subject. the middle class people. So these are the five things that they are doing which they actually never wanted. So how to get out of it? It's quite easy. If you're in the middle of it, if you have already jumped into it, I mean you are 90% through or you are 90% inside it, then you have to have a different structure of thinking. But if you're a person who have not started it, then you have to adopt a different lifestyle and a different routine and a different school of thought to pursue your life in a different way. Otherwise, out of obligations, if you do things, it is never going to give you a satisfaction. You're going to become more frustrated. You're going to become more uh, angry. You're going to become more dissatisfied with anything and everything you do. Why do you always see people who are not eligible to become powerful or who are not eligible to gain a respectable position, get the position, and always abuse their power and their position? Because deep down inside, they know that they don't deserve it. Deep down inside, there is a constant, uh, concrete feeling that erupts time after time inside their mind that they have to validate that they earned it. They have to validate it to themselves that they deserve the respect, they deserve the power, they deserve the position, they deserve the attention. So in pursuit of doing that, they always trying to flex their power around and they just dominate, they just manipulate, they just exploit people around them. I have seen this in a ton of people, and this is also a part of a personality disorder. Okay, social structure is actually helping people to become narcissists. So NPD, narcissistic personality disorders, there was a time that it happened to people or normal individuals because of my understanding of it, my research and my analysis has brought me down to has given me a conclusion that the narcissistic personality disorder is a product of bad parenting. It's a product of incorrect childhood. But now the entire social structure has become so I don't I'm I mean I don't have a word to explain or I don't have a correct word right now that is coming to my mind that can correctly address the structure, but I think it's an incorrect structure that is building up in society that is making a normal individual act like a narcissist because it's a structure that has built up that everyone has become egocentric. Everyone is thinking that somehow I have to prove myself in a way that can validate my existence, my power, my presence to everyone around me. And this is something not just incorrect, but it is building up to some great event that is going to cause a lot of problem in the future for each and every one of us. Okay, so I had a lot of people come to me uh, and discuss things like they are experiencing a narcissistic, you know, I mean they are having a relationship wherein the other person is a narcissist, but it is not actually a narcissistic personality disorders. See, if someone is showing traits of NPD, of narcissistic personality disorders, it doesn't mean that they are narcissistic personality disorder patient. They might show traits, and depending on those traits, people are calling them these are NPDs, but it is not. The social structure when you move out has become so incorrect and inefficient that everyone is unknowingly, ignorantly acting like narcissists, and it becomes utterly difficult for an average person to evaluate these disorders. But everyone is acting like they are uh, professional psychologist or psychiatrist, and they're uh, evaluating people based on these signs and traits, because nowadays things have become very easy. A Google search and ChatGPT is going to give you an understanding of how things are. But believe me, majority of the people don't have any idea that what is what. Again, the surface level understanding of things are always going to give you a distorted reality or a distorted definition. So if 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 you want to understand something from the core of it, you have to pursue the knowledge accordingly. A Google search is not going to give you, I mean, yeah, sure, it might give you an idea, but an idea is not knowledge. Idea can be information, but it is not knowledge. Knowledge is a different dimension of thing. It's a different dimension altogether, rather say, to be more precise. So if you're not tapping into that dimension and you're trying to understand it from the surface level, then you will only end up having an assumptive idea, a surface level understanding of what is what. But this is where a lot of people end up, I mean, divorce cases when they come to me. Okay, when these couples they come to me, or these single parents they come to me, they always tell me that my husband was a narcissist, my wife was a narcissist, uh, my boss was a narcissist, my not just the divorce cases, all the type of cases. They always end up telling me that these are narcissists, these are narcissists, these are narcissists. I don't understand. It's like someone's got fever, and you end up saying that he's got malaria, he's got a viral infection, without understanding the proper diagnosis of a problem. You're giving a conclusion. See, based on the research that I have, extensive and vast research that I have done, I have understood one thing, that 99% of the people actually need cognitive behavioral therapy. Look it up. Look it up on Google. What is cognitive behavioral therapy? I'm not going to explain you this here, but why did they need it? Because they have behavioral issues. They have tremendous and terrible behavioral issues. Okay, and these behavioral issues are a product of the incorrect environment that encourages you to act like a narcissist. Okay, so if you are acting like that, this might not be the case that you are a narcissist, but if you are acting like that, eventually you will end up becoming one. Kids today, majority of them are narcissists. They have tremendous Gen Z. The entire generation has tremendous personality disorders. The highest amount of personality disorders that you will see in any generation is in the millennials and Gen Zs. They have tremendous, out of hundreds. you'll find 80% or 80 people or 85 people, 85 individuals have personality disorders or psychological disorders. Why? Parenting, environment, how they grew up. Okay. So here we must understand that if you are developing personality disorders, if you are developing psychological disorders, are you in the right environment that can help you identify that you have the problems? That's the first thing you need to understand. Are your relationships becoming too fake? Are your social interactions becoming too fake? You have to identify that. Are you getting a lot of compliments without doing anything? This is where you need to understand that. Are you interacting with people who are being extensively too kind and too sweet on you? You have to understand that. See, these are the build-ups. These are the things that creates a structure for you, a perfect structure for you to become a narcissist or to act like a narcissist. Whenever I go somewhere, my work is to identify what kind of a crowd I am interacting with. And unfortunately, I'm interacting with people who are seriously dumb to identify their problems. They have no clue how they are acting. Look, if you are way too drunk, you will always be out of reality. Simple science, okay? Because you've got alcohol in your blood, and this is not going to make you act like how you act when you are not drunk. So when you are ignorant, when you don't have any idea what you are doing, when you don't know how to evaluate your own behavior, you will always act in a way that may, not may, that will force you to believe that everything is right with you. Action, reaction, and response. These are the things that can help you identify your behavioral issues. And look, do it now. Otherwise, take care of it now. Go to a psychologist and do a thorough research and do some Google search, or you can get help of ChatGPT or any AI module to help you with if you are having these issues. It will help you with cognitive behavioral therapies. But I would still ask you to go for, I will implore you to go for a professional, an expert, to help you with cognitive behavioral therapies. If you don't implement this therapy in your life right away, you're going to have a terrible married life. You're going to have a terrible parenthood. These experiences, you're going to have a terrible professional life. These experiences are going to haunt you. These experiences are going to make you frustrated. And and the interesting part is you will always end up thinking that there is nothing wrong with you. Something is wrong with the other person or the environment that you're interacting with. Okay. One basic thing that I have seen among people is passive aggressive behavior. Majority of people don't seem to understand what is passive aggressive behavior. Here's an interesting case I am sharing with you. What happened? Okay. An IT employee, he got in touch with me. He was very depressed. He was not happy with his job. He was looking for a change, but he was handsomely paid. and he was uh, placed. I mean, he was working in a company that he always wanted to work. This was his third job. He had to do two more jobs to be there where he is now. But he is not happy. He is not satisfied, and he is in a state. I mean, he is in the verge of getting into depression. He was showing all the signs and traits. So he contacted me through some contact, a common contact. So I spoke to him, and then I understood that he was a victim of passive aggressive behavior in his office. Nobody treated him bad verbally. Nobody was physically or verbally abusive to him. But it was a passive aggressive behavior that was putting him off all the time. He was always psychologically, mentally, uh, you know, dissatisfied. He was always down. Whenever the moment he enters the office, people are giving him passive aggressive behavior. And this was constantly affecting his mental health. Constantly. And right after 8 months, he was at the verge of getting into depression. And he came to me and he started telling me after 3 to 4 sessions, I figured out that something is wrong at the office. So I had to understand. I take some extra steps to fix the problem. So I asked him, is it possible? Is there an opening going on in your office? I understood the structure of their office, and he was saying, yes, we are looking for some associates. I said, can you set up an interview? I mean, how to get an appointment for an interview? He said, there are walk-ins happening. You can just come in and drop your resume, and some HR executive is going to attend you. So I went in looking for a job, and from the interview room, his cubicle was visible. So I asked him not to recognize me, and we will have no verbal, virtual communication at all. He said, fine. I went to his office and I saw that the entire office, the employees, had terrible behavioral problem. They were giving away passive aggressive behavior. Even to me, the HR executive was, uh, I don't know what was wrong with her, but anyway, she was also rude. A lot of people were rude, and the interesting part is none of them are aware of it that they are rude. It is like they they're just doing things, routine things, the way it should happen, the way it should go, the way it should uh, carry on. I was there for some time, and I just had to observe it. I did not just I didn't even I did not even wait for my time to come for the interview. I just observed the entire thing and it came out. I gave them a fake resume and everything. So the next session we had a good discussion about it. I asked him that, how's your boss? He said, my boss is fine, but I don't have uh, a specific or a valid point to address because you cannot express or you cannot address a passive aggressive behavior. All right, that's the problem. Even if on CCTV camera, it cannot be captured. Okay, from all the angles, because passive aggressive behavior is mostly a POV, point of view observation. You have to you have to Experience that behavior. Only then you will understand that it's passive aggressive behavior. And this is why this behavior gets unnoticed a lot, and people in India are not aware of it. So you can turn off a lot of people without even talking to them, without even interacting with them, but you can turn them off with a passive aggressive behavior. Do a research on this. Okay. Lot of employees are frustrated. Lot of employees are depressed just because the environment of their office is bad. And you know how? Because a lot of people are having a passive aggressive nature. And this passive aggressive nature is causing a lot of mental harassment to a lot of people. Suddenly, a performer becomes, uh, you know, bad in their performance. Suddenly, when you were a happy guy, and then after a couple of months, you become sad. You get into depression. You become mentally sick just because of this. Just because of this. Okay. So, in every organization, I think there should be a psychologist to evaluate these kind of things. I mean, there is a category of psychologist that that exists, but companies don't invest on those kind of things. Okay, because companies need uh, uh, less investment. They need uh, robots, employees who can work like robots, and that's about it. But but gradually, I think things will change. Gradually, it has to change because you cannot endure that for a very long period of time when it comes to psychological pressure, psychological problem. So this is one important factor that we, the Indian entrepreneurs and the businessmen, must understand. Try to evaluate your employees while you are interviewing them. Try to evaluate them psychologically. It is very important. Okay. So look where the conversation went. We started off with the concept called life, and then we entered society, then we entered personality disorders, then we entered uh, the structure of our society, I mean, the psychological structure of our society. Then we ended up discussing personal life and professional life, and then we ended up also discussing how professional environments are becoming bad and what is the root cause of these bad behaviors. Passive aggressive, what is passive aggressive behavior? How can you offend others without even interacting with them? And all of this, all of this needs one thing. I gave you the solution as well, and that is cognitive psycho cognitive behavioral therapies. That's the thing that you need. I think that's about it. And very soon I will go live again. I will discuss other things as well. I hope this session was effective and knowledgeable to you. Hopefully, you watched the entire video. It's just almost an hour long, but I'm sure you're going to get something out of it, which will help you. It's just a free thing. If you can like, share, and subscribe, help me. Encourage me to spread the right message to everyone. People who need this. There are a lot of people who need these kind of guidance and knowledge. And it's a busy life. You cannot just go and take an appointment from someone and then expect it, uh, expect them to give you all the information in just one session. So I'm helping you save the money, and I'm also helping you enlighten yourself. Take care.